Okay, so first we'll put our hammer spring back on. So you want your flat part that on the hammer that hit your firing pin facing down. We'll just slide this back on. Make sure the legs are pointing down when you have it in this position. On the spring, the two little bent ends of the leg. I'll probably show it here in a minute. The loop goes down a little slot, and then as its flat parts down, your legs are pointed down on the bend on the bottom of them. I'll show you that. I'll just kind of assemble the trigger off camera. That's your disconnect spring. Your disconnector, that's going to face forward. And there's a little divot in there that the spring will go in. Right there. And it's going to sit in there like that. We'll probably put it in separate. And then you can line up your holes. We'll probably put the trigger in and a disconnector in afterwards. Your trigger might have a double hook on there like another one. Doesn't matter, it all works the same. We'll go ahead and put our hammer in. And like I said, I'm going to use this shotgun shell trick on this. I can't remember the guy's channel, but like I said in the disassembly of it, I saw it on that, but I cannot remember that guy's channel for nothing. So we'll go ahead and put our springs back. Oh, other way there. Come on. There we go. What are we doing? There we go. Yeah, 12 gauge shotgun shell that's already been fired, obviously. Fits perfectly over this. And like I said, I wish I could remember that channel name so I could give him credit for it. I just happen to have one I had cut up for a different project, but there you go. You don't have to worry about those springs from smacking down on you. And then like I said also in the disassembly, if you have a tap-go trigger, you'll have a sleeve in there that holds everything together. It's actually really nice. But if you have the stock trigger like this, then this is how you do it. Works the same way. It's just easier with the tap-go setup. So just put it in and just turn it 90 degrees. And just make sure the flat part of your hammer that hits your firing pin is facing forward. The little loop faces to the rear. And we'll put our hammer pin back in, left to right. Just line everything up. It should slide right in. You got to finagle it some. Probably a lot. If you're like me. As you can see. Line up, snap it in. Alright, I'm going to use the shepherd hooks. I was going to get an aftermarket, but I'm going to go and put this back in. So I just come up to the magazine well. Now that hook is going to hook around your hammer pin. And then the other end of it that's coming through right now, that little slant should be facing down. That's what kind of gives it the spring action for your trigger pin. So if you saw your hammer pin, it's got a couple slots, and it's going to go in those slots that are inside the receiver now. So we put our pin in. So you just want to snap in that little slot. I just put our needle nose and just brought it home. It clicked in there. Okay, you can see how it's going to go. Just double check it, make sure my hammer pin doesn't slide out. Now we'll put our trigger assembly in. Probably won't be able to see a lot of this, that's why I did it off camera first to show you how it's going to go. Just drop it straight in. Now once we get all this assembled, we'll have to push that spring down we just installed. That right there. We'll have to push it down below the hole. I don't think I did that on camera either. Put your disconnect spring in and disconnect. Again, hook facing forward. Just like that. And then the other end of the spring's going to go in a little divot that's built under the trigger that's already in. So you're going to have to compress all that down, unless I said you have an aftermarket trigger and it's got the sleeve and it holds it all together. And then we'll have to also compress our spring down. I'll show you real quick. I think you can see the spring right in there, right there, and we're just going to push that spring down and then put our pin in. See how it's below the hole? I think I get a better angle of it here in a minute. That's about. You can see the spring going across the middle of the hole. We're going to push it down below the hole, and then we'll put our pin in there through our trigger and our sear, or not sear, but disconnect. There, we got it in. Now that spring is underneath the trigger pin. So we'll compress the spring down and push our trigger pin the rest of the way through. And this trigger pin is slotted just like the hammer pin was, and that spring will pop up in there. If I can get it here. Oh, hands in the way. So I'm just pushing that pin and pushing that spring down at the same time. And it just snapped in. I should have zoomed in on it. Double check the pins in there. Retained. It is. We'll go ahead and put our hammer springs back down. And like I said, just be careful because these things have got some tension on them. And that's just going to lay right on top of those on the trigger. I'll show you here in a minute where it goes on. Because that one missed. So we're just going to lift it up over the trigger assembly. Right on that ledge, right there. There you can see. See where it's sitting on top? That's all there is to it. Alright, next we'll go ahead and put our safety in. Our safety switch selector. Just hold it straight up. There's gonna be a little hole on the left side of the receiver. It's gonna ride in. It's like a little divot right there. You can see it right there. Just get that in there, and just push it straight down. You'll have some tension on it. That's okay. Just push it down. We're just checking to make sure it works right here. Obviously, do a function check after you're all done. Make sure everything's functional. All right, go ahead and cock your hammer back. We'll go ahead and put our forward furniture on now. Okay, just like it came off, just gonna put it up there and then slide it back. It's probably gonna be tight. There it's going. It's normal for it to be tight. Now there's two little springs on the end of that furniture. You're just going to slide that. Let's put this thing straight up, and you can just push it down on a lot easier. I don't think I got it on camera. I need to work on my camera skills using my phone now, since I don't have a camera person for most of my videos anymore. But yeah, you're just going to slide that piece down and flip that lever forward. There, it just snapped in. Just keep it compressed down and flip that lever forward. Try not to break the light. And there it is. You can see your lever flip back, not forward, flip it back, as it's shown there. Okay, next we'll just put our gas tube back on. Gonna slide the front end first, and then the back end just straight down. You might have to move that lever again a little bit. Straight down. Push our lever down. There's a little dimple in there where your lever will stop, but mine's still a little loose right there, so I put mine down a little bit past the dimple. And that tightens it up. They're all going to be different, so whatever works. Next, we'll put our bolt carrier group back in with our gas piston attached. Guess we ought to put our bolt in first. So that little recess right there, that's what that lug and your bolt's going to go into. So we just put it straight in with your lug kind of facing up, that lug right there. That's what's going to fit in that little slot. So put your bolt in, slide it back. That lug will fit right in that slot, and then let it ride forward in there. Make sure it's forward when we put this carrier group in. Make sure your hammer's back, safety down, off. Just put our gas piston in the hole there. Let me take it out. I'll show you what the slot we're looking for. These slots back here in the rear. That little cutout right there. That section of the carrier is gonna go in there. So once we get in there, we just push it down and then slide it forward. So go ahead and line up our gas tube, or our gas piston. Keep saying tube, piston. So slide it in until you get to that place I just showed you. All right, there. Now push down and forward. It should be locked in right there. And just take your charging handle and shove it the rest of the way forward. And that's it. Now we'll do our recoil spring assembly. Slide it in. Press it forward, down in the little slots it rides into, and let it ride back. Should go right into a little slot right there. There you go. Next is all we got is our receiver cover. You'll see in the front end, I didn't show it very well on camera, you'll see on the front end here how it goes, where it goes in. You just kind of, yeah, you'll see where it goes. You're just going to slide it in there. It kind of recedes in there a little bit. Once you get it in that, you're just going to push it straight down. Snap right down. Do a function check, and you are good to go. Appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe if it helped you. I'll put the link to the disassembly of it below the video description. I can put some other links down there too. Thanks for watching again.